All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Welcome
friend.
to episode 6 of the Balanced Besties.
Yay.
Yay. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see
Yeah,
you.
you too.
I feel like, I'll be honest, like, I'm good, but like, dude, everything in my life is like up in the air right now, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's how I am
With
right now.
with just everything.
Yeah.
Life,
Like,
work,
like
school for
work.
Charlie.
Well, it's all like I have all these big decisions that I'm sitting on,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to figure out what it is I'm supposed to do. And I have all the like my mom and I sat because part of one of the things on the table is me moving in with my mom.
Yeah.
And so I was over at her house on the other day, and we just like sat for like a long time, just going back and forth through like the couple of options that I have going on and what I'm supposed to do. And like every time we think we figure it out, then we start talking some more, and we're like, ah, maybe I should do this then. Like, it like switched back and
Yes.
forth like constantly. And I'm like, this is what I've been going through. Now you have some uh insight into what's going on in my brain for the last month. Like,
Right.
oh my gosh.
It's
I
hard.
just feel like I don't know
You
what
have a
I'm
lot
doing.
going on. Yeah.
I do.
Like it's like
Job
a turning point right now, I feel like, in your life.
it is. I'm kind of I mean, I officially have a part-time job. I'll get the offer on tomorrow. Um but I also have another full-time job that's on the table that there's a good chance they'll offer it to me, and I'll have to make that decision. And I'm like weighing the two, and I just like I can't. This morning I was leaning back towards the part-time job going, this is a test. This is a test from the universe that I have to choose like the part-time job, because if I go with the full-time job, that means like I don't believe in myself and the universe is testing me, and I have to choose believing in myself. That's where I was at this morning. But man, I don't know what I'm doing.
I know. Kelly and I were talking about that the other night too, because we have some big changes coming up in our lives
Mhm.
as well. And, we were talking about, I had read something somebody had shared on Facebook about a girl who just was getting out of high school. And she's basically saying they push all of these things on you. It's like you go to college. And if you don't go to college, it's like, oh, you're a failure. If you don't go to a 4-year university, it's like they make you feel bad. Like even trying to go to a trade school, which trades make really, really, really good money, but they don't talk about that as much in high school. And she's like, I feel like everybody's expecting me to go to college and get this 9 to 5 job and work like this for the rest of my life. And that's not necessarily what I want to do. And I was like, yes, go girl. I was
Mhm.
like, question
Mhm.
it, question it all. It's like, she's like,
Mhm.
they don't teach you how to start your own business or how to be financially independent. It's just go to college, get a job and work, and
Mhm.
and I feel like because we've had that ingrained in us so much, that's why you're probably struggling. Part of the reason you're struggling so hard is you're like, could have this stable job where I make, you know,
Mhm.
good money and have benefits and, I have a consistent income, but is that necessarily what I want to do?
Exactly. And just a reminder to myself too that like at the end of the day, yes, I need money to live, but like money isn't the end all.
Nope.
Like and I unfortunately, yeah, it's been kind of indoctrinated into us that yeah, you go to school, you go to college, you get the job, you get that 401k
Right.
retirement plan, and
Yep.
I have that all sitting in front of me, and I think the most like sensible people in my life would be like, well, I shouldn't say that because you encouraged me, but like, um, but you know, some of the people that I have a lot of respect for in my life I know they're like, you need to take the good job, and that's what I left. I left the good job. I was miserable in it,
Right.
like, um. So yeah, and what's also been really great too is having, you've been really encouraging for me, but also like my mom has been like surprisingly very encouraging of
Yeah.
me pursuing what I'm doing. Just over the last couple days, she's really shown up for me. Last night I sent her a video that someone had sent me. It was a Dr. Zach Bush,
Love him.
yeah, talk that he had done. I think it was like a video that was from like 5 years ago or something. But I shared it with her, and she calls me and she's like, you have got to do what you're doing. You are just, God has blessed you with this, this, this thing, and you got to pursue it, and you are just meant to be doing this. And oh, she's like,
Oh,
she's like,
Paula.
I'm going to change my diet. You're going to help me. And I'm like, I was like, hallelujah.
Right? That's good,
Yeah.
finding those things that can encourage them. But yeah, that's awesome that she's been so supportive.
Yeah, it's been cool. So yeah, I definitely, I have some things weighing on my mind, and I'm trying to figure out how to handle it. I don't know.
I think a lot of it is it's almost like it makes other people uncomfortable when you challenge the status quo. It was
Yeah,
like us choosing to sell our house and travel around the country. People are like, oh, what? But how are you going to do this? And how are you going to do that? And what about your kids' school and all of these things? It's like it makes them uncomfortable that you're not living just like a normal life. You don't go to work 9 to 5 and then have 2 days off, and send your kids to
for sure.
school, and then they come home and then you take them to 75 sports and activities. It's like when you change how you're doing and living your life, it's like it makes them uncomfortable. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of it too. It's like they think you're weird for not just wanting a 9 to 5 job, but then they also are like, yeah, it just puts them, they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I remember even me talking about what you were planning on doing. I had quite a few people who are like, I don't know, like, really? It's like, yeah, I think it sounds awesome,
Right.
But I think the immediate reaction is you go to this kind of, and I'm definitely guilty of doing this with other people, but like that kind of doomsday, like, what about this problem you're going to come across? And what about, have you thought about this? And you know, we definitely get stuck in like this thought pattern that's kind of been ingrained in us by society of how things are supposed to be. And that's where I feel like, somehow I got to get in a circle of people or expand my circle that shows me the other ways that life can be lived,
Yes,
oh my
exactly.
gosh. I was looking at sort of random, I won't, I'll try and be not detailed about it, but I randomly ended up looking at all these houses on VRBO. It was through a promotion that was being done, but they had a special for these certain like crazy awesome places that they had, like you could get one weekend they were making available for $20 a night, right? It was like this special that they were promoting. Anyways, I was looking at these houses and stuff, and I'm like, holy cow, these things were massive and so cool. And I was like, people own those. Like, there's so much more to life that I am not aware of. And like, there are people that own them. Not only are there people that go and rent those places, but there are people that own those places. Like, it's out there. And I've just like lived in this shell of a life, like that's like, kept me small, I guess, and trying to break through that and really find my own place has been scary, but it's cool. There's so much more to go.
That
I'm figuring out right
You'll
now.
do it. And I think people like security,
Mhm.
people want to feel secure, and the thought of not having that security scares them,
Absolutely.
and
It scares me. Like, shoot, I'm a single mom. I've got a kid who's got special needs and on a special diet, and I have to be able to feed her,
right.
It's scary to not take the practical route, I don't know.
You'll figure
So,
it
yeah,
out. I believe
that's
in
what
you. I know what you should
thanks,
do.
Tip.
You
You're the
have to
best.
you have to figure it out though.
I gotta say, I gotta tell all of our listeners, like Tiffany has been my entire life probably my number one champion, and I didn't even like realize it for a long time. But dude, I look back when my mom brought up my gymnastics routine that I did for the talent show way back in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And I will always picture, like, I'll never forget you sitting up on the stage with me. Like, that's the kind of friend you were. Like, you're always like by my side, and I appreciate it.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
make
get
me
all
cry.
emotional.
I know, you're gonna make me cry. Oh, I love you. Thank you.
Go.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't know. I don't have much to share today. We're
No?
thinking about getting chickens. Well, we've been wanting chickens for a while, and now, of course, it's chick season. So
Yeah.
Audrey is all like, "Oh my god, I want all the baby chicks, mom, right now." I'm like, "Dude, they're a lot
Mhm.
of work. So we're
Yeah.
just not ready yet." So we'll see. I'm hoping sometime this year we'll have the
Mhm.
yard ready and have a coop and be ready
Yeah.
for chicks and chickens. But
Right. You also have like you're selling the RV or the trailer.
yeah, we
So
just got our RV back yesterday, from the shop, just having some work done on it. And yeah, we're gonna put it up for sale now.
man,
Which,
putting that
oh
in the bag, huh?
yeah, I'm a little sad.
Yeah.
We'll get something smaller that we can eventually, when we're ready, we'll get something smaller that we can weekend travel, or go for
Mhm.
week-long trips and meet up with some of our friends, and that we've
Yeah.
met traveling and whatnot. But it's just not practical for us to have a 42-foot fifth wheel trailer for weekend travel. It just does.
No?
It's a full-time
How's it?
living RV. So I'm a little sad. I need to get out. We just brought it back. It's at the house. I need to get out there and
Yeah.
get it cleaned up and ready to take pictures and whatnot. But man, they're going for everybody wants to travel right now. So I think we'll make out
Mhm.
pretty good on it. But I am
Yeah.
a little
Cool.
sad. A little sad
Closing of
to,
the chapter. Yeah.
yeah, end of a chapter. I haven't posted on that Instagram account, our travel Instagram account, for
Mm.
quite a few months. I'm like, how do I close it up? And I feel like I need
Well,
some
the final
accountability.
selling of the trailer
I
might be
know.
a good way to close it.
Yeah. So then we got to get rid of our 1-ton truck, because you don't need a 1-ton truck if you're not hauling a big rig around, and figure out our next moves. But it'll be good.
Yeah.
Weather's getting better, so
Hmm.
it'll help with my emotional state and my sadness for having to sell the trailer.
Right? Oh man.
Oh, what did you have to share?
Um, actually, so I've had this, I don't know if we've talked about this much, but I think about how like you're really passionate about regenerative agriculture.
Yes, I am.
Sort of in the same way, especially this time of year, I get really passionate or like it's almost like I'm angry.
Yeah.
Um uh about chemtrails.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know where you sit on this, but man, I look up in the sky on a clear blue, beautiful, warm, sunny day, and I just see planes going across the sky, leaving this cloud that then disperses and like takes away my blue sky. And I get
Right.
so mad. And call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I just like I it makes only sense. Like I swear, growing up, our skies did not look like this. Uh, I swear in the summer you could see the mountain
Yeah.
in on a,
Totally.
during the summer, and now in the summer you cannot see the mountain. They are doing something up there, and there's I came across a documentary about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to like throw it out there. You should watch it.
Okay.
It's called The Dimming, and it
All
was
right.
put out by it's on the geoengineeringwatch.org.
Okay.
Um, there's a lot
I'm
of
writing it
technical
down.
talking. Write it down. Geoengineeringwatch.org, and then it's The Dimming is the documentary that they had put together.
Okay.
But yeah, it really like gets into all of it and kind of I mean, I felt like it was a lot of stuff I already knew. They even go beyond like just chemtrails, but just generally what they're doing under the facade of trying to fix climate change, which in actuality is just, do you really think that by screwing with the weather that you can fix climate change? Like,
Right.
does that really sound like a good idea to you?
I know.
Does it really sound like a good idea to spray aluminum, like nanoparticles of aluminum and sulfur on
Into the
our,
atmosphere.
yeah,
On our plants.
on our plants, and we're inhaling it,
Yeah.
and you think that, I mean, watch what happens with, increase in Alzheimer's and stuff. I mean, it's already happening.
Dementia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just a fascinating watch. Hopefully eye opening for some people
Okay.
to think about what's going on in our skies. Cause man, I get mad driving around. It was just the other day, I was like infuriated, just like, can I have my blue sky, please? I was so like, I was losing my mind. Anyways, yeah, that was my share for today.
Right, I'll check it out. I feel like we could have an entire episode where we just like talk about all of these different like topics as far as like climate change, regenerative agriculture, like people, what foods are being pushed on people and all that kind of stuff. Just like kind of a random episode where we just kind of have a chat, maybe that ends up being like a Q&A or something, but
yeah. For sure.
Today we're talking about our wellness routine, or a day in the life of our us, right?
Yeah, kind of what our typical day sort of looks like, how we live. I don't know. Hopefully this is entertaining for people, because my life's not that exciting, but I mean, I've created some routine, which has been actually really great. So maybe there's some benefit to hearing sort of having that routine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I get people asking a lot how they say, how do you do it all? And I always say, I don't do it all. Maybe it looks like that from the outside, but I try to be pretty real with what I share, and I don't do it all. So I think we'll do like a day, like I'll share what I do like during different parts of the day, but then also like try to make it a little bit health and wellness focused too. So
Right. Yeah. And it's so true. I mean, nobody's asking me how I do it all, because I don't. You definitely seem like you do a lot, and you do.
I feel like I do everything half-assed right now, though, to be perfectly honest with you, because I have so much. It's like I can't like, do it all. I can't. I just feel like I do a little bit of this here and there, but I'm not like, I have so much going on. It's almost like I'm not completing everything I need to.
No, I totally relate to that. And also it's just amazing. We call, I think my mom started this with Charlie. We call it the time monster. Like, where does time go?
Right.
Like, I write out a schedule. I'll talk about this a little bit, but like, I write out a schedule every day for myself, or I have been recently, and I'll have plots of time that I like line up. I'm like, okay, first hour of the day, I'm doing, getting ready, getting Charlie breakfast or whatever. And I'll have like an hour time that I'm like supposed to do like one thing, and I don't even get to do it. Like, I'm like, I don't even have social media to distract me anymore. Like, what am I doing in that time? Like, I don't even know.
I know.
It just disappears.
It does. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you start and tell us kind of like how you start your day off? What do you do?
Well, I'm going to say kind of what I was just saying. My day really starts the night before. And I think this is very important for everybody listening to maybe take as a bit of advice. I start my day the night before. And what I mean by that is, one, trying to have my house ready as much as possible so I don't have to, I'll tell you what, I do go to bed with the dishes dirty sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, nope, not doing it. I'll do it in the morning. But like, for the most part, especially when I was working and Charlie was going to school, it would be, having certain like things ready to go the next morning so you don't have to worry about it in the morning. But now it is, I plan my day the night before. So I'll get into more detail when we get to that part of the day, but it really does start with that planning. Or even just having a forecast for like, I'm starting to go this direction, having more of a forecast for the week of what I want to get done.
Totally.
And so having a running to-do list or whatever. But my mornings start out with, I get up and the first thing I do besides like turn on the heat and open the blinds is I get Charlie's breakfast going. And her breakfast is pretty easy, thank goodness. She just likes to eat bacon. So I always have bacon already cooked. I do it in batches. So I cook 2 packages of bacon at a time in the oven. And then I just store it for the few days and warm up like 4 or 5 pieces of bacon in the morning, and it's good to go. So I feed her breakfast, and then I get myself kind of cleaned up and, rinse my face off, get dressed, drink some water. For a while, most days I take some sort of like a morning detox binder, because I've been detoxing copper and whatever else is in my body that I want out. So every morning I kind of start with bentonite clay or modified citrus pectin to start off on an empty stomach. So it'll help pull some of those toxins. And it doesn't happen every day, but I have the intention every morning of either journaling or I'm starting to get back on track with writing my dreams every morning.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, we got that from Rachel Hollis. We talked about that in our goals episode. Uh, but writing your dreams as if they've already happened.
Right.
So I've started picking that up again. And then, after probably about an hour or so into the morning, I make myself breakfast usually and then sit with Charlie and we do some schoolwork together. Just giving her that really one-on-one attention time, either focused on math or focused on reading or writing. So do like a worksheet with her or get out the whiteboard and do some math problems with her, some flashcards, just something. It's usually about 20 minutes we probably spend on it, but it has really, really helped her to get that one-on-one help with learning, and being able to structure it specifically to her, and where she's at. So it's been awesome.
I think
then
that's super important, giving them that one-on-one time when it comes to school and whatnot.
yeah, especially a kid that's got challenges in learning. She's not she doesn't naturally learn this stuff. I shouldn't say that. I mean, eventually she does. She's just behind. So it just takes her longer is all it is. Everything takes her longer, but just getting that one-on-one focus really, really has benefited her. And then once she starts school, and I'll say like my schedule, I start my day, I try to get up at 6:00 in the morning. It's not always perfect, but so she starts school at 9. So at 9:00, that's when I try to do my workout. It's usually in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then after that, I get going on whatever it is I kind of need to work on that day. So hopefully with no distractions, I get on the computer. I will check social media for a minute, but hopefully it doesn't distract me too much. And then get working on whatever it is I'm trying to do that day. I've been applying for jobs for a while, so that was taking up some time during that time. But now it's more getting back focused on building. I'm creating a lot of documents to use as resources in my nutrition work that I'm putting together. So yeah, that's where I kind of like start digging into my work. So that's how my day starts.
Nice.
Yeah. How do you start your day? What does it look like in the morning?
Mine starts, so I get up usually at about 6. My goal is 5:30, but let's be honest, it's been 6 lately. So I get up and Kellen has meetings at 6:30 every morning. So I get up and I get our coffee made because we're coffee people. So make our coffee. I put just a scoop of collagen in my coffee. So I've been doing that lately and really enjoying that. Doesn't taste like anything, but collagen's so good for your skin and your muscle and your tissues and, elasticity of things and whatnot, joints. So I've been doing that more recently and noticed a bit of a difference in how like my joints and muscles are feeling. So I do that. I take my vitamin D, my vitamin C. Okay, now that sun's coming out, I'll be able to get outside a little bit more. But in the winter, it's really cold here, so we don't get outside as much. So I take a vitamin D supplement. And then I take another supplement that's called Cortistop that I use for cortisol because I have a lot of like stress and anxiety, which I've been working through, but I take that when I know days are going to be stressful, I take that supplement to kind of help be proactive with my stress management. And then I write in my journal. And so one day I kind of alternate what I write in my journal. One day I'll write, every day I write what I'm grateful for. So 5 things that I'm grateful for each day. And then one day I'll write what would make the day great in a daily affirmation. And then the next day I write my 10 dreams. So like you mentioned, Jessica, write it as if it's already happened. So I am this, I am that. So I do that. So I kind of alternate what I write in my journal each day. And then the kids get up. By the time they're up, I'm usually getting breakfast going for them. For Audrey, she typically eats a protein waffle. And then Emmett eats eggs. So he'll eat like 5 eggs because he's a giant 4-year-old,
That
almost
is
5-year-old.
amazing. I
So he'll
love
just
it.
eat eggs. And we've gotten more into avocado again. I go through phases with food where I'm like, oh, I'll eat this for like a month. And then I'm like, I don't want that for a while.
Right.
The kids are like that too. So right now it's been avocado and eggs. Sometimes I'll throw in a bit of a sourdough toast. So I'm making my own sourdough bread now. And so I'll throw in like a sourdough for them every now and then. And depending on if Emmett's going to school that day or not, I'll take him to school, get them ready, take him to school, and Cecile, Audrey will just read or color or draw while I take him to school. If it's not a day he has school, I'll try to get him involved in what we're doing for her homeschool that day. If it's science or I'll read to them and whatnot. Excuse me. But then we'll start school. So Audrey really likes me involved in her school. She likes me to sit right by her and do it with her, which is nice. Sometimes I'm like, you need to do this on your own and work independently on your own. So we're still struggling with that a little bit, but it's getting better. But we'll do school, and school usually lasts for about 2.5 hours. So 2, depending on the day. Some days are a little bit longer, depending on the subjects we have to do. Some days are a little shorter. So I'd say between 2 to 2.5 hours of school. And that's usually done. If it's a day Emmett goes to school, we're usually done with Audrey's homeschool by the time I go to pick him up. So that's nice. So that's kind of how our mornings go. Really, it's nothing too terribly exciting. I do work in the morning as long as the kids sleep in past like 7 or 7:30. After I write in my journal, I'll do a little bit of work. It varies day to day what I'm doing, whether it's my Young Living business or writing on my blog, Fit Mom's Life, or working on this, editing our podcasts, whatnot. So kind of varies. I'll try to get as much work time as I can before they wake up, because typically that's the only time that I have to work during the day, is that hour and a half in the morning. So
I'm so jealous you have that hour. And Charlie has been an early, granted, I get it, I guess, in the evening a little bit, but like, so it's just different, I suppose. But like, she has been an early riser her like entire life. She is up at like 5 a.m.
That's crazy.
Ready or roaring to go. Like she's wide awake and going.
What time should she go to bed?
8 o'clock.
Okay. We've been pushing the kids to bed at 8 o'clock lately too.
Yeah, it's like clockwork. She's like, she puts herself to bed basically. She's ready to go. She's so easy.
Good.
Yeah.
Right,
and
so
I forgot. I realized I didn't talk a little. I'll talk a little bit real quick because I ran over this. My breakfast that I usually do is basic. It really depends on kind of what I got going on in my fridge, but for the most part, I take Charlie's leftover bacon bits because she only likes the fatty parts of the bacon.
Yeah.
And I can't throw away like anything. So I take her leftover bacon and I throw that in with some eggs and what I've liked okay, so you have to try this sometime. Oh, you like kimchi, right? Yeah. I know you don't like sauerkraut. You didn't get into the kimchi?
I gotta find one I like that's not too spicy. Kellen likes the really spicy ones.
The firefly one was good.
Okay, I'll try that one.
But I'm telling you, man, eggs, bacon, kimchi, and apples. It's been my go-to for a while now. The sweetness of the apples with a little bit of spiciness from the kimchi.
I could see that.
It's good. And then you got the saltiness from the bacon. I don't know. Yeah. It's pretty good. But sometimes I'll have like cooked beets in the fridge. Beets are actually pretty good with eggs and bacon. Yeah. I'll throw that out there. But yeah, so just real quick, run through what my breakfast kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we get into what's that?
I was just gonna say, it depends on if I'm doing intermittent fasting that day. Sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and decide, yep, I'm gonna do intermittent fasting today and I won't eat until lunch. I'll just have my collagen in my coffee. And then some days I'll be like, after I drop Emmett off at school, I'll make like an egg and a piece of sourdough toast for myself or something. But I don't know. I never decide the morning before. I try to do what you do at the same time in the evening and like be prepared for the next day. Breakfast is one thing I don't ever get ready for. I'm like, am I going to eat breakfast today? Am I not? Is it an intermittent fasting day today or is it not? I guess it depends on how I'm feeling that morning. So,
well, I think that's a good way to go about that. Like listen to how you're feeling.
Yeah, totally.
we need to do a whole episode on your whole fasting situation. We
I
gotta talk
know.
about
Oh, my
your
fasting.
fasting.
I'm feeling more confident about it now after my second fast. The first one, I was like, I'm never doing this again. This is terrible. But after my
Yeah.
second one, I'm like, all right, this is doable. But that's a
Yeah.
tangent, a whole nother topic we'll have to talk about. So
Yeah, we will. So yeah, once my morning's up and going, I feel like I hardly have any time before you know it, because Charlie will ask for, once she's in school, she'll start asking for me to help her with some stuff. So I get derailed a lot through the
right.
day. And then before you know it, it's time for me to make her lunch. And so I'll make her lunch. Most of the time I have food prepared. I kind of make things in bulk. So generally every Sunday or Monday, I roast like a whole chicken, and she likes to eat the dark meat and the skin of the chicken. So I feed her that, or I have a whole cooked salmon and she'll eat that. Like, I always just have something made in the fridge
Which is
that
perfect.
yeah. So I just usually have to warm it up. Of course, there's times when I have to actually cook it, but for the most
Right.
part, it lasts for a few days and I just warm it up for her. And that's the same time I get her lunch, and then I make myself a milkshake. So this is what
Yeah,
I
your
guess I call,
milkshakes. Tell everybody about your milkshakes because they always look so good.
well, so it's gonna freak people out though,
You should
because
start sharing your recipes on social media more.
oh, I'm going to. I've actually made a video and then I never posted it about my milkshakes.
You should.
And it's evolved. Like, it used to be, we used to call it yummy juice in the house to get Charlie to drink it. And that was when I actually juiced, and I need to get a new juicer. So I stopped juicing, but now it's milkshakes, and I call it like a homemade protein drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, I do it in a green container. So I have like this individual, it's a cup. It's like a, carry around like a water bottle, basically, is what it looks like, but it's green. The tint of the bottle is green.
Mm-hmm.
I should have had it here to show you, but it also has the way where it's by Oster, and it's a individual like blender for making smoothies, right?
Like a NutriBullet type of thing.
Yeah. But then you have the lid that goes on it to make it a cup, right?
Yeah.
So so I use that, and it's funny because every time I'm at work, or when I used to work, or at the school when I used to work there, never failed, almost every single day, no matter how long I've worked, like, what are you drinking? Because, and I think it's because it looked crazy because it was in the green container.
Totally.
Like, they're like, what are you drinking that's green? And I'm like, the container's green. Can you not see that the container's green? But like, it freaks people out. I still don't understand it, because I don't know why people are weirded out by me drinking something out of that's meant to be like a smoothie cup. Right. I don't know. Like, what do you want me to do about this?
People are funny.
But anyways, so my milkshakes are made up of raw milk, which is the only way I recommend drinking milk personally. And then I usually put about 3 raw eggs in it. And lately I've been adding raw liver to it.
Really?
Yeah. I just keep frozen liver in the freezer, just chunks of it, and I just throw it in there. You can't even tell. It's brilliant.
Interesting.
Yeah. I do a half of a frozen banana. And for a long time I was doing maple syrup as so the banana is a sweetener, but then also maple syrup. But lately I've switched back to honey, so raw honey. Mm-hmm. I put some cod liver oil in there, because I do share this with Charlie, just a little bit of it. So I try to get some supplements into her that way. I do coconut oil, which you have to melt beforehand in order to get it to mix in. So I melt some coconut oil.
Tell people what the cod liver oil is good for.
Cod liver oil is amazing. I would say, they like to talk about superfoods out in the world, but I think this is like probably aside from liver, this is like the other ultimate superfood. So I actually do a raw cod liver oil. It's by Green Pastures. And it's fermented. So it's a fermented raw cod liver oil. And what it's great for is it's a great source of vitamins A and D. And also some essential fatty acids. So it's just, it's an amazing supplement, basically a food, So yeah, that's the main thing about cod liver oil. It's got a lot of other benefits too, but I would say the vitamins A and D are like the great things that you get out of it. And then I add a little bit of cocoa powder, about a tablespoon of cocoa powder. And then I will throw in all kinds of supplements. Again, largely because I'm sharing it with Charlie, so I'm trying to get stuff in her. So lately I've been putting diatomaceous earth, modified citrus pectin, pteramine, that's like dirt. I put in dirt. It's they're minerals from the earth. Sometimes I throw like magnesium in there, probiotics. What else? It just kind of depends on what I'm kind of using at the time.
Yeah. And if you guys want to learn more about some of the stuff that Jessica puts in her smoothies, definitely like look it up, search it. We will probably do an episode on different supplements and whatnot, but definitely look those up and see what some of the benefits are, because there's some pretty awesome stuff in there. Even though it may sound weird, like why would you do that? There's some awesome benefits to what she's putting in there.
Yeah. We definitely need to do an episode on supplements. You know, and there's, well, I don't want to get on a tangent, but we'll talk about it in that episode. Yeah. I throw in vitamin C powder. I have a liver support supplement. It's called Liver Life. Let's see here. I have a powdered like bone broth. I have, for a while I did collagen, but now I'm doing, what do you want to call it? Gelatin. So, yeah. And that's everything that goes into there. So it's a whole bunch of stuff. But you know, the main thing I feel like is the raw milk, the raw eggs, the raw liver. Like those things are like all super powerful, nutrient dense foods.
Nice.
And it's like a meal of itself. I've calculated it out on my calorie, like the nutritional calculator.
Right.
It's like 900 calories or something ridiculous. You know, like it's a meal. Sure. Yeah. So that I make that, and I clean up the kitchen or whatever I gotta do. Sometimes I gotta do some random stuff, and then try to get back to work and get some stuff done, doing whatever I'm working on at that moment. And I'm, again, just kind of throughout all the rest of the time of the afternoon, kind of getting derailed, helping with Charlie. And then when she finishes up school at 3:30, if it's a nice day out, we go to the park. Or if it's not so nice out, I try to do something fun with her. You know, do a puzzle, color, art project, something that, you know, we get to do something together. That's fun, basically. And that's pretty much my afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what does mine look like. It varies. Right now we're working on getting our yard ready for spring and summer. And so a lot of time, this yard, the house that we bought, the lady was a master gardener. And so the yard is just full of plants, and it's gorgeous when it blooms. We've seen pictures, but it is a hot mess right now because nobody took care of it in the fall and pruned things back and got it ready. Right. So everything's just super overgrown, and it's taking me forever to get anything done, I feel like, to make any progress. So we spent a lot of time in the garden. We're planting a vegetable garden again this year, which the kids are excited for. So we've gotten that already. We have our starts going in the house, which is the first time we've ever done that. But just get them outside into the sun, either playing in the yard, helping me work in the garden, or they do some kind of art project in the afternoon as well. And that's typically also when I try to get my workout in. So I'll do like 30 minutes. Some days, if it's really good weather and kind of a little warmer for them, I'll take them on a bike ride. So they'll ride their bikes and I'll run. So we've tried to do that a little bit more recently now that the weather's warming up. Otherwise, while they're playing in the yard or doing an art project or something like that, I'll try to get my workout in. And I'm the same way. About 30 minutes is about the most I can get. Sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 10, and then they fight and I have to pause and then start again. I feel like that's the story of my life lately. I just feel myself saying, you guys, I can't even get a 30-minute workout.
Oh man.
Oh man. But yeah, so I'll do that. And then usually make them lunch. And We've been doing like homemade chicken salad lately with like roasted chicken and avocado mayonnaise. So Emmett really likes that. So we've been doing that, or steak. Carrots is their favorite vegetable. So that's usually what they eat. And I will make a smoothie for myself sometimes as well. My smoothies are not as intricate and well thought out as Jessica's smoothies. Mine is usually PB Fit, which is like powdered peanut butter, chocolate protein, whey protein. I do have a Four Sigmatic pea protein, vegan protein that I'll throw in there sometimes as well. But I prefer whey. So a whey isolate protein, frozen banana, collagen. So I'll add a little bit more collagen to it. And almond milk. We don't drink. Audrey had a dairy sensitivity as a baby, and so we just never really drank milk in our house. So we'll do like almond milk or coconut milk. Sometimes we'll have raw milk every now and then. We'll throw that in there, and ice, and that's it. And that's my smoothie. Audrey's gotten into like making her own smoothie recipes. So sometimes she'll do like a fruit smoothie. So she has frozen pineapples and frozen peaches in the freezer. So she'll make those, but I'll try and like sneak stuff in there, like collagen and other things that she doesn't necessarily want to put in there for herself, but I'll sneak them in there when she's not looking.
That's cute.
Yeah. But yeah, usually it's like chicken, salad or steak. Kellen will make extra steak when he grills. So same kind of thing, doing a little bit of meal prep. So I don't have to take as much time to make them lunch. But they love steak. That's probably their favorite food, both kids. So I'll heat up a steak for them to eat. I feel like that's typical of what they have.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, play outside and work in the garden. And that's like our afternoons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing too terribly exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's like, again, it's like, where does time go? I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that kind of happens in there, but that's the basics of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's a lot of time right now. I feel like I'm just trying to get in 10 minutes outside to get the yard going. I have so many weeds to pull and plants to trim back and take care of, and I'm running out of space in our yard waste bin. I'm like, yard waste doesn't come enough here. So just getting that all ready for growing vegetables. And I think it's also part of our homeschool too, is working in the garden, identifying what they want and when they need to plant it, and looking at the lady did a really good job of labeling all of the plants that are in our yard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and even our neighbor was really good friends with her, and so she'll come over and be like, "Oh, this is this plant, and this is that plant, and this is a noxious plant. Even though it looks pretty, it's a noxious weed, you know." So she's been helping me a lot too, just getting the yard kind of ready to go, because it'll be really pretty when it's in bloom. But it's just a lot of work. But it's really good for the kids to identify these things, and
Yeah.
I try to use it as much as I can as a learning opportunity. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we'll go to the park too. They love going to the park. So
yeah, but that's so cool. I think that's the cool thing about homeschooling. I mean, I hope when I get around to homeschooling Charlie that I'm good about this. So I will say I'm not always good about it, but like using real life as an opportunity to teach and learn.
Yep. That's a huge part of
cool.
our homeschool now.
I mean, I guess I should give myself a little bit of credit. I do know some plants thanks to my mom. She was really big into gardening and stuff. So I will, occasionally point out the flower or plant that I know to Charlie, but I also like to tell her dogs breeds. That's my other different dog breeds. But yeah, I think that's really cool about homeschooling is you kind of just get to use the world around you to teach, and it's not just all in the textbook. So that's awesome.
And I'm trying to do more of that now, because I feel like that resonates with our homeschool style as far as how Audrey learns. Is she doesn't like to sit and do school, right? She doesn't love doing the books and that kind of thing. So especially for math, which her and I are kind of struggling with right now, it's just butting heads on math. I'm trying to figure out better real life examples. So we're doing a lot of baking right now. She's in a baking phase. So we got 5 or 6 different baking books from the library. And so I'm trying to use that as an opportunity to teach her math, right? It's like, oh, we don't want to make 24 muffins. Can you cut this recipe in half? You know,
Nice.
how many cups of flour do we need now? How many, tablespoons of cocoa powder do we need now? That sort of thing. So use real life examples. Kellen does a lot with her with math as far as money goes. So she wants to sell eggs, right? So when we get our chickens, she wants to raise them and sell the eggs. So how much do you charge for a dozen eggs? And how many chickens do you have? How many eggs do they lay? Using those real life examples, and she basically calculated out how much money she could make each year if she had like 20 chickens or whatever. And so using real life examples versus just like a problem in a book, that resonates more with her and it gets her more excited. Granted, it also gets her feeling like she needs chickens right this second, but, but girl has no chill. But we're getting there. But yeah, just trying to figure out ways to like make her excited about different subjects like math. So
yeah, that's amazing. I think that's the one thing that kind of intimidates me about homeschooling is I know that that's probably the best way to teach. And I don't always think of the world in those terms,
Right.
and to like really be able to switch around to like pointing those things out or using, and that's really what they encourage you to do. When I talk to like her teachers, like I tell them that we've been working on math and stuff, and her special ed teacher is going, well, basically what you just said, use the light things around you. That's the best way. And, just as you're going about your day, find things. And I'm like, I know this. I know that's how I should do it. But
right. It's hard when you're in the moment, to think like that. And I loved going to school. I loved having homework. I loved doing textbooks and workbooks. I thrived on that as a kid.
Right.
So it's really hard for me, especially to think about like real world examples with the math. Kellen does much better. He's a much better mathematician than I am. So he's taking a little bit more lead in her math, but yeah, I love textbooks. And so I'm like, why don't you want to sit and do this problem in the workbook? And she's just like, God, this is torture. She's just whining and complaining for like 5 problems. And so that's definitely a struggle point. But that's where the plus about homeschool is that if it doesn't work, you don't have to keep doing it. You find what works for you. And so we've definitely over the last couple of years have switched up how we do things.
Yeah. And that's so funny you say that because I'm the same way. I think I always liked the like textbook problems. To me, that was like solving a puzzle. Yes. I love doing math because it was like, give me this problem and I figure out how to, figure out the puzzle of it,
Right.
And I guess different ways of thinking.
Yeah. Kellen's dad is really good at math as well. And he used to email over word problems for Audrey that were funny. I just need to have him keep doing that.
There you go.
Send me like 30 problems a week for Audrey to do that'll make her laugh and she'll actually want to do it,
Oh, that's amazing. I
Give
love
him something to do.
Oh, that's so cool.
So what's the rest of your day look like?
So the rest of the day, we go to the park or play or whatever, and then I have to get her dinner going usually. Again, a lot of times I have food already prepped kind of, but sometimes I do have to cook something. And then she'll eat dinner and I might make myself something. I might need to eat something kind of right before that too. Cause my milkshake's got a lot of calories, but it's liquid. So it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I might eat dinner with her. A lot of times I eat right before I feed her or right after, just however it works out. And that might be for myself. That might be, it's always like working with the foods that she doesn't want to eat. That's part of, so like I might make her a salmon. She likes the skin of the salmon. Yeah. So like I have to, the rest of the meat of the salmon, I have to like coat in butter, which I'm fine with. I'm okay with that. You eat all the butter you want, girl. But then I have a bunch of salmon meat that I have to consume.
Right.
And like, so it's using a lot of those, like the white meat of the chicken, I have to figure out what to do with. And man, I'm getting tired of chicken. And, she eats steak, but she mostly likes marrow. So like I cut up steak for her, but then I mix marrow into it to try and get her to eat all of it. And then she won't eat a lot of the meat of it. Again, I'm fine with that, but marrow's not cheap either. It doesn't go a long ways.
Does she like
So,
mostly the fat off of it too?
uh-huh.
Which is
Yeah,
so
she
funny.
likes all the
Audrey's
fatty
the
things.
exact opposite. They could like share a steak. Audrey will just eat the meat part. She can't stand any of the fat. And Charlie can
Oh,
eat
it's so funny.
the fat.
Yeah. We need to get them together to help not waste foods.
I know, right?
I'm hoping like if I do move in with my mom that she might balance this out because she likes all the meat cuts and does not like anything fatty.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll work out.
There you go.
And then, sometimes if I'm not ready to like eat or have a full meal, my go-to, I ate it this morning. Throughout the day, if I'm ever really hungry but don't feel like eating a full meal or something, my go-to right now and for a while is prosciutto, apples, and cheese. Like just make a little smorgasbord and I eat that to hold me over. A little charcuterie. Yeah. So that's kind of that. And then as she's eating dinner, she always wants me to do one of two things, either sit and watch a movie with her or read to her. So, and this is also throughout the day. Like anytime she's eating, she's either watching a show because I'm busy or she wants me to read to her. So that kind of disrupts my day a little bit too. Like every time she's eating lunch or dinner, I spend probably 30 minutes of reading a book to her, which is great. It's a great way for us to bond and have that time and read and stuff. But that's part of my day as well. But a lot of times lately it's been watching a movie with dinner. And so we'll sit, like she'll finish her meal and then she'll eat fruit. And I'll sit and watch a movie with her and however long that goes. And then once the movie's over, that's when we kind of get to the end of our night. I have a timer set at 7:30 at night it's a reminder for us to do our good thing. This is something I talked about this also in our goals episode, but I started it this year. Every night we write down one good thing from the day. Sometimes it's two good things from the day. And we put it on a Post-it note with a date and we stick it in a jar that we're going to open at the end of the year. So that's like a really cool thing that we both kind of look forward to doing every night. And then after we do our good thing, that's when I plan out my next day. And she was doing that as well. It was super cute. She would plan out her next day, but now we're doing more of like journaling to really work on her writing. Yeah. So while I plan out my day, she does one of two things now. She either reads out of a book she reads to me, or she's alternating. She's reading one night and then the next day she's journaling and she's, either writing a story or writing about her day or whatever she feels like writing.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So that kind of wraps up her night. And then I, do the whole brush your teeth, get you to bed. Again, she's an easy kid. She goes right to bed. No sweat. Like, good night, kiss you, lights off. She's good. She's gone for the night. And I mean like gone for the night. I could have like a kegger in my house and she would stay asleep. That kid sleeps just fine through the night now. That was not the case when she was a baby, I'll tell you that. But she sleeps fine now. Yeah, it's nice. So then I'll once she goes to bed, I'll usually take a shower, clean up the house a bit, do the dishes, whatnot. To be honest, I probably get on the computer and waste time on Facebook and Instagram. Or I'll journal, or I don't even know what I do in the evening, but before you know it, I have to get to bed myself because I'm trying to get to bed around 9:30 so that I have time to fall asleep by 10 so I can get up at 6. Generally is the goal. It doesn't always happen. But yeah, and then I finish up my night again with taking usually one of those detox binders, toxin binders. So I'll take clay or modified citrus pect. Well, it's usually clay at night I take. So I try to do that. Also I'll throw in there too before I take a shower, almost every night lately, I've been doing a bentonite clay mask. Because my skin's been a mess with detoxing and I'm trying to pull all the toxins out through my skin. It's always my face for the most part.
I feel like that's all women. It's always through our face.
Why, man? Like, my whole life I had clear skin. I had amazing clear skin. And then I get to like the last 5 years or so and I'm like, what is this that won't go away? Like, But the clay mask has been really awesome. I recommend that for anybody out there. Do a bentonite clay with either you can mix it with water, or sometimes I mix it with apple cider vinegar. Um, and it's pretty amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to bed. Hopefully fall asleep. I haven't been I was always a good sleeper. It's always easy for me to fall asleep, and it's become more difficult. Some days are easier than others, but um whenever, I suppose, like with anybody else, when I have a lot on my mind, it's hard to fall asleep.
It
That's
is.
what it's been lately. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it.
Nice.
So there's always some wrenches throughout the day too. I'll mention, like, and they're not wrenches. They're just the odd things that pop up in the day, whether, all of a sudden I need to go to the grocery store because I'm out of something, or every Wednesday I have to pick up my raw milk that I get from my, I get raw milk through my old daycare. She gets it through a person that is up by her house, and
Nice.
it's part of like a CSA. And so she brings me a gallon of milk, and I buy it from her. So that's every Wednesday I pick up milk, or I have Zoom meetings on certain days. Lately I've been having interviews, just the random stuff that crops up that kind of disrupts the day. But that's, in a nutshell, that's what my day looks like.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you? How's your night finish out?
It varies. Lately, it's been working on the house, so we're still working on renovating the house that we bought. So Kellen and I'll spend the evenings. We either have to run to the hardware store, or do trim or whatever we're doing, painting. So we're just working on the house typically. Usually, I'll let the kids watch a show. They each get one show or a movie, or they'll read or play outside. Or I'll referee them. I feel like that's a lot of my day is refereeing them. That's also when I do some more social media time. So I usually post in the evenings if I post to social media. At least 1 or 2 days a week, I have Zoom meetings in the evenings. So Kellen will watch the kids, take them to the park, play outside with them or whatever. And I'll have a Zoom meeting. I'm very fortunate that my husband cooks dinner pretty much every night for us.
So jealous.
So yeah, so he loves it. I'll be like, oh, I'll do this. He's like, no, I'll do it. And he always is like, but I cook dinner. I'm like, but you want to cook dinner. You like doing it.
Yeah, I think it's
like,
amazing. It's cool. Like, I actually know quite a few men that love to cook, and I'm like,
yeah.
if I could never cook again for the rest of my life, like,
Oh,
just let me do the
seriously.
dishes. I'll do
Yep,
the dishes. I'm good with it.
totally. So typically we're eating, he will smoke something. Typically we're doing ribs, steak. He's done a couple pork butts lately, so we've had pulled pork.
Nice.
And a salad. That's typically what we're eating, is some sort of meat. Maybe chicken. He did chicken wings in the air fryer the other night, which was really good. Trying to use our air fryer a little bit more.
Yeah.
What else? I feel like that's typically what our meals are. We're getting a full cow in end of May, and then he's going hog hunting next weekend, so I'm hoping he'll get 2 hogs. So
Dude, that's
I know, so
awesome.
we're gonna have a lot of good meat coming in, which will be nice. So we'll have a little bit more variety, and I'm looking forward to that. Doing some fun things with our meat.
Yeah.
And then I will, after that, usually get the kids in their pajamas, and they love me to read to them at night. So we'll spend, I don't know, usually 30, 40 minutes in our bed with them snuggled up reading. I try to read the classics to them now. At first, Emmett still likes, like younger kid books and whatnot, but I've been trying to read the classics to them. So we did the whole Little House on the Prairie series. Right now we're reading James and the Giant Peach. We've done Matilda. What else? I'm trying to think of what else, but we do Way of the Warrior Kid, which is a Jocko Willink series. So we've read all of those books, which they love. So yeah, just trying to read something that they'll both enjoy, so I don't have to do it separate with them. And then after they go to bed, depends on the day, I'll either work or Kellen and I, if we're just really tired, we'll watch a show together. And then I try to read something fiction before bed. So they always say, if you want to read nonfiction, read it in the morning. And if you want to read fiction, read it in the evening, because if you're reading nonfiction in the evening, it kind of has your brain working more than something that you're reading for pleasure. So you want your brain to like work to shut off in the evening. So reading something fiction is a little bit better in the evening. So I'll read like 30 minutes before bed. And yeah, that's it. We've been doing some family walks lately too, which the kids have enjoyed. Take the dog out on a walk and whatnot. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. That's about it.
Yeah. I like that about reading. I need to do more reading, and I always think I'm going to do that in the evening. I like that idea of doing the fiction in the evening. I might have to try that. The only thing I wonder is if it's a really good book, it's kind of like watching a movie for me, and I can't put it down.
I do have those days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have had those days where Kellen's asleep next to me and I'm like, I just got to get through one more chapter. And then I just like 30 minutes later, I'm like, oh God, I got to go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some good books out there. So,
but I do need to get more reading in. I usually get my reading in when I take a bath. So about, probably 2 nights out of the week, I try to get a detox bath in, and that's when I'll read a book.
That's good. I've never taken
yeah. Oh, so good. I have to. I took one last night. I did a little bit different mix. I usually always put like Epsom salt with some bentonite clay and some essential oils. And that'll be my detox bath. Last night I did some raw milk, some apple cider vinegar, some Epsom salt, essential oils. I feel like there's something else in there too. I don't remember. Oh, I did a honey mask.
Oh, that's nice. I like honey masks. Yeah. The kids are one bathroom in our house with a bathtub in it is still under construction. So the kids are like, when can we take baths again? Like they got their bath bombs ready and they like to do the Epsom salt with the essential oils in their baths and they're just dying. I'm like, we've got to get this bathroom finished.
Well, that's something to think about too. Even when I think about the whole like living on the road, I hadn't really thought about that. Charlie like does not take showers.
Oh yeah. So that's all you got.
Yep.
That's all you got on the road is a shower, no bathtubs.
She'd have to get used to that. I think she's like, when I remember when I was a kid, I was terrified of taking showers because I didn't want water in my face. And I think she's the same way. I must have passed on the epigenetic code of memories that water is scary.
Audrey doesn't like water in her face either. She's better now about it, but she does not love getting her face wet either. She doesn't like taking a shower, period, because she hates her hair being wet. So
yeah, Charlie does not like taking baths at all. Like once she's in there, she's fine. It's the whole like leading up to it. Doesn't want to do it. I'm like, dude, you gotta wash your hair. All right. Like
you gotta take a shower. You gotta wash your body. Come on, kid. But yeah, so that's our days. Nothing too exciting. A lot of kid time, a lot of cooking time. I feel like every time both of us were talking, a lot of it was centered around food and cooking. And when you're eating a little bit more whole foods diet and lifestyle, it takes a little bit more thought and effort into what you're making and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing with that is, and granted, it's just me and Charlie, so it's easier to do, but cooking extra has been like such a lifesaver. Like, because I cook a lot, but I actually don't cook a lot for the way I eat. I feel like, because I always have sort of that reserve in the fridge. I mean, but I hate cooking. I shouldn't say I hate it, but I kind of do. I just like, I don't want to put the effort into it. If it was the only thing I had to do in my life, that'd be fine. Yeah. But with everything else I have to do, like I just keep it so simple. Same. Because I don't want to have to think about it and put more effort into anything else.
It's funny. I just read a blog post this past week about things successful homeschool moms do. And one of them is they cook simple meals, because it's like unless it's part of your school. So like Audrey and I are doing a lot of baking. We're doing like a lot of sourdough stuff right now. Unless it's part of your, like they're making a meal for their school and something like that. Like we keep it so simple because it can take a lot of time out of your day. And Kellen and I used to be better about meal prep, and he's wanting to get back into it. And I think we will, but we would try to meal prep every Sunday. So we'd take like a couple hours out of our day on Sunday and just meal prep like our lunches, right? So then all you have to do is just heat it up or pull it out of the fridge and you're ready to go for your lunch, you know, every day. And it just really cuts down on the amount of time that you have to spend in the kitchen when you meal prep throughout the week. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And I should probably even do better on that. But yeah, it's mostly for me just a matter of keeping it simple. I'll admit I do get bored. I've been bored lately with food. So I try to but every time I get creative, it just like falls flat. And maybe it's because I suck at it or something. I don't know. But like, you know, it's one of those things like, I don't know if you feel this way. I feel like I like other people's cooking, but I don't like any of my own food. But I know like from other people, like I'm not a bad cook. Like, I just think I don't like eating my own food for whatever reason. And
I think that's everybody though. I think that's with kids too. I could make the same thing as you would make and Audrey would like it better you making it than I did, right? I think that's just how kids are too. It's always better when somebody else does it.
I do think Charlie loves what I make. Like she doesn't. Yeah, that's really nice. And she does like it simple. Like every time I try to do something creative for her, like she does not like it. I mean, trying to get that. I made tuna casserole, and I'll tell you what, that tuna casserole is freaking delicious.
Yeah.
And yeah. I tried to get her to eat one noodle. I'm like, it's a noodle. You love, I do lentil noodles, and that's like one of her favorite things right now. I just do lentil noodles with butter, tons of butter. So I have this one noodle from tuna casserole, wouldn't do it. I made her eat a bite and she's like, I don't like it. I'm like, okay.
I know. They're so funny. Helen has we bought a keto cookbook last year sometime or year before, and it has some really good recipes in it. So Kellen's broken it out and tried a couple things lately. Really, really good stuff. And we'll even the kids really love just rice, right? So we'll just add some rice to whatever we make for them. And they're like, no, I don't want to try it. I'm like, dude, just take a bite. Try it before you shy it, is like what I always say. Try it before you shy it. And it's just pulling teeth to get them to try new things. They're very simple too. They have to see what the ingredients are, in order to eat it.
Yeah, Charlie won't even go that far. She's like, no.
No, I mean, they like it to just be like steak, carrots.
Oh, yeah. They want to know exactly, they can see what it is.
Yeah. If it's all mixed together, Audrey's looking through it to see if there's onion in there because she hates onion. She can spot the tiniest piece of onion. But
here's the thing. Here's what I'll say about this. I was that kid. I was 100% that kid. And eventually I started eating other foods. So it'll change. I know she'll get older. She'll eventually want to try new things. Yeah. She'll get there.
And it does. I think people think that it has to be super, intricate, or has to be something mixed together, or kids won't eat just plain meat. But it's yeah, they will if that's what you offer them. We just give them steak or chicken, or fish, and they'll eat it because I'm not giving them something else. If you want something else, go make it yourself. I'm not going to make you something else. So
yeah, no, that's how Charlie likes it. She likes just the individual foods. Yeah. And it's chicken or steak or salmon, shrimp, hot dogs. And then vegetables she likes are well, even lately, she doesn't even really like any vegetable. Lately, I've gotten her on peas and corn. Outside of that, her noodles, and then there's cheese. Oh, cheeseburgers is another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, she doesn't even really want tomatoes. She's into tomatoes. That's her vegetable right now. So, for a long time it was yellow squash, zucchini, orange squash, but she doesn't want anything to do with those right now.
Yeah. It's the phases. Yeah. They go through phases.
Yeah.
My kids really we call them broccoli chips, but it's just roasted broccoli with salt and pepper and olive oil on it. And we just call it broccoli chips because it tastes you get it pretty crunchy in the oven on broil, and they love it because it tastes like chips, And,
oh yeah, there's hell no way Charlie would even Like she'd probably like cry if I brought a plate of
Broccoli.
that had that on there. Yeah.
Those are funny.
Yeah. Oh, I love them.
Anything else you wanted to share?
No, I mean, I think that covers like basically in a nutshell. I mean, the weekends, of course, are a little bit different. I probably waste even more time on the weekend because I get to it and I'm like,
Right.
and I just get derailed. Yesterday, I watched that documentary for like 2 hours in the morning, and like I went on a walk with my mom, and I got some work done in there, but it's just never, it's not as structured,
Yeah.
by any means.
One thing I meant to share was a little bit more about other supplements we take, and I didn't, but we'll do a whole episode on different supplements and stuff like that because it varies depending on what we take. Kellen's really better than I am about consistently taking his supplements. He does a lot of biohacking on himself as well. As far as supplements go, we both do a lot of biohacking on our sleep. So we'll do an episode on sleep as well. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more in the near future here about different supplementation and things like that. I think you and I are both on the same page where we try to get as much nutrients in our food as we can. So making healthy
Yes.
food choices to get your vitamins and minerals through food sources. But sometimes there's just things that you need a little bit extra of, and that's where supplements
Yeah.
come in.
Yeah, we'll get into that on that episode because I'm even shifting even more. But yeah, definitely, I think food is the best source. And I've always felt that way. Even my supplements, I try to get supplements that are real food.
Yep.
That, like the cod liver oil,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a supplement. It's a food. It's
Yep.
just in a pill.
And I think that's
But
a thing to know for people too, is it's like something like a cod liver oil. Yes, it comes in a pill form, but it is a food, or I don't know, other examples of ones. You can get like liver, like beef liver capsules, right? So if you don't want to eat beef liver, you can get like freeze dried liver in a capsule form. Yes, it's a supplement, but it's a whole food supplement. So I think we can talk
exactly.
about the difference between them.
Yeah, and yeah, we'll get into that on that episode when we do it because
Yeah.
I you might even be, I don't know. I've sort of hinted towards some stuff that I'm moving towards, and we can dig into that in that episode, I think.
Yeah.
Because life's getting interesting for me.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all listening and watching. If you've watched on YouTube, you can find me on Instagram at tiffany.hubner. And you can find Jessica at
Real Food Revolutionary on Instagram. Also, you can check out my website, which is realishrevolution.com.
And mine is fitmomslifeblog.com. You can find us there as well. So if you enjoyed this episode, please click like, subscribe to our podcast, leave a comment, a review. A 5-star review is always appreciated. So then we will show up to more people as we get our podcast going and kind of just getting into the swing of things here. Share with your family and friends, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.